Global happenings today. We communicate. We analyze global news.
Hello, beautiful people. Welcome back to our channel. A lot of fubara supporters, reverends, Nigerians as a whole have been watching closely, monitoring if eventually come 18th of September, fubara will be reinstated. Don't forget that there was a closed-door meeting held some few days back between the sole administrator, Ibas, and the president, Bola Ahmed Tinubu. Many speculate that there's a move on ground, especially what is going on behind the scene. Of course, in the next video, you're going to get all the full details on what is happening behind the scenes in Rivers State as we speak. But here is the details of what transpired in closed-door meeting and what Ibas City has been mandated to do forthwith and immediately. But before we do that, kindly subscribe to our channel. And according to the details, following a closed-door meeting between President Bola Tinubu and the sole administrator of the River State Vice Admiral Ibas, which is retired, in the presidential villa, there are strong indications that suspended Governor Siminalayi Fubara, his deputy, Prof. Ngozi Odo, and a 32-member House of Assembly may return on September 18, 2025. It was gathered that at the meeting, Ibas was ordered by President Tinubu to ensure that he submits a comprehensive handover note of his 6 months emergency rule before his 10-day vacation ends. Now, according to a source privy to this development, the detailed handover note should explain all the funds inherited from fubara, revenues accrued within the 6 months of the emergency rule and their respective sources, as well as expenditures during his stewardship and the various projects the funds were channeled into within the period under review with clear specifications. Of course, the handover meeting, high-stake meeting, therefore, nailed the coffin of a frantic move by powerful forces in the National Assembly to help push for a 3-month extension period for Ibas, because a lot of things were being speculated there. The Wednesday's night high-stake meeting therefore nailed the coffin of frantic move by powerful forces in the National Assembly to help push for a 3-month extension period for Ibas, which would have seen him remaining on the saddle till December 2025. Now, those behind this move were of the opinion that, according to the source, the 3-month window would allow Ibas to complete some of the key ongoing projects, like the reconstruction of demolished House of Assembly complex, the ongoing workers' verification exercise, and the installation of sensitive equipment in government institutions. If this move had scaled through the hurdle, then fubara and all the democratic constitutions or institutions would only need to wait till January 2026 to be restored. However, with a peace deal struck, whether for a long or short time, or whether it's going to be long-lasting, the Federal Capital Territory FCT Minister Mike is vehemently against such backdoor scheme and wants the emergency rule lifted as soon as practicable on September 18. Recall that on Saturday, August 30th, after casting his vote during the local government election, Wike said the governor and the assembly members are ready to return to the government house 2 days after the state chairman of the All Progressive Congress APC chief Tony Okocha re-echoed that the September 18 date was sacrosanct. The source hinted that the marching order was that Ibas must submit his administrative report to the president's table 2 days before his return from vacation, adding that the president may likely make a pronouncement to lift the emergency rule on September 18, a date that would make it exactly 6 months since the state of emergency was proclaimed. On March 18, President Tinubu proclaimed emergency rule in Rivers to dose political tension between Wike and fubara. Sharing his thoughts on fubara's return, a Port Harcourt-based human rights activist who did not want his name in print said upon his return from vacation, Mr. President's next foreign trip would be to New York, where he is expected to attend the United Nations General Assembly. There is going to be a face-to-face with advanced democracies and civil societies. It is only morally right as a self-styled Democrat, for him to leave the suspension and restore all democratic institutions in Rivers State to avoid a backlash from the harsh American media. Meanwhile, Fubara, who is currently in London with his family, may likely return to the country anytime soon to resume duties. When he returns, he will then be handed over a list of political appointees, including commissioners that he will work with, another source said. Wow. Now, this is interesting, which means Mr. President knows exactly what he's doing, and the timing seems to be perfect. My colleague is in the house. You've heard it all. What's your take?
Well, for me, I don't think that the last paragraph secures anything, because the truth is this is an independent person, and they know how to play around with words, and all of that. So restoring him, even restoring Ibas back, Fubara back on the 18th, does not stop the international media questioning why he took that decision, especially considering the fact that it is not captured in our constitution. It wouldn't stop it, because the reason why a lot of people are pushing for it also is to get to a place of settlement where the judiciary would tell Nigerians if it is right. And I know that if Fubara back, the judiciary will tell that it's academic, and then they'll now start playing that there's no need for it to talk about it and all of that. But guess what? Whatever it is, they have just laid a foundation for something very indecent for our democracy. Someone calls it is like vomiting on our constitution. Unfortunately, that is where we are right. What we are going to be seeing is a situation whereby everyone would take advantage of any state that have issues. It's not even taking advantage of any state. Laying this kind of foundation, it's a case of when they come on board, they just adopt his own style of leader. It won't be fair, I would say.
One last question. I did mention the fact that some very powerful forces in National Assembly wanted Ibas to stay 3 months after 3 months extension, so that Fubara, that's about Ibas will stay 3 months extension, so that Fubara will be entering January, first week of January 2026. But what do you think? Do you think that these forces are probably those forces who would prefer to, have a say and a way in Rivers State, and yet we can wanting back his structure? What do you think? Do you think? Remember, Wike mentioned that, personally speaking, he wanted Fubara to be impeached, but this whole issue of emergency rule came as more like a shock, which means Wike may not totally be in the total no of this emergency rule. What do you make of it?
Well, I think that the intentions are clear. All these emergency rule and all of that, we all know that it revolves around the money of Rivers State. It doesn't mean that they care so much for Rivers State. Neither do they love Rivers State. Even all these things, I want my structure, but it has nothing to do with political structure. We all know that each of those structures, they claim that they are back. By the time that the governor will send money to those people, they will tell them remit so percentage to me. We all know this truth. My excitement is that one day, you will leave that same money here on it and go your way. For me, I think that the move by this guy, maybe they have not finished, when they cook stew like that, or maybe fresh fish or whatever, they cook it. The bottom pot, some of them needed to scratch the bottom pot well for the next 3 months, so that they know that at least money for re-election and all of that is settled. So I believe that was their intention, but possibly because of the fact that Wike is a loving child of Tinubu, he has pushed in that no matter what, they should restore it. That's why all of this is happening. But whatever that will come out from here, we're still watching.
All right, let's go wrap it up. Let's meet in our conversation.